Ryan Andrews back again with ShapeFit.com to talk about part 2 of how to become overweight or obese. In part 1 I discussed things ranging from, what to do at breakfast, how to eat during the day, how big your meal should be late in the day, happiness in other areas of life, sleep patterns, things like that. So in this part 2 of my opposite test on how to become overweight and obese, we'll talk about a few more important things relating to success and weight management, okay? So the first one is beverages. Drink your calories. I recommend high fructose corn syrup and drinking a lot of calories to two types of people. People that are either in strenuous training or elite athletes. It can be very beneficial then to have a recovery drink. But the other people I recommend it to is if they're going into hibernation, okay? High fructose corn syrup is great for putting on a lot of body fat, so you don't really want to consume it if your goal is to manage your weight and be healthy. So if you want to become overweight or obese, drink a lot of your calories from juice, soda, giant smoothies, things like that. Eating out at restaurants frequently. There's a nice positive association between how much we eat out and our BMI. It's hard to know exactly what you're getting at a lot of restaurants. Fortunately, some restaurants are getting a little bit better in terms of posting what exactly is in the food, but it's hard if you're going out to eat twice a day, 7 days a week, to know exactly what you're getting. So we want to be careful with that. Number 3 on part 2, go refined on grains. I don't think this is going to be earth-shattering information for anybody. Whole grains are really the name of the game when it comes to carbohydrates. I have a hard time finding a lot of people who tend to overeat the real natural sources of carbohydrates. Barley, oats, brown rice. A lot of people don't say, wow, I couldn't control myself last night. I was like going overboard on the barley. That usually doesn't happen. I don't think it's ever happened. So when your grains are unrefined and they're whole and they're real and unprocessed, you usually won't run into problems. It's when it becomes man-made and refined, that's when they tend to get those more addictive properties, and we tend to overconsume them. So careful on the refinement of grains. Basic food prep skills. If you want to be overweight or obese, don't learn basic food prep skills. And I'm not talking you have to be a chef, but if your only food prep skill is you memorize the number to your local Pizza Hut, that could be a little bit of a problem. Have just some basic stuff on hand. I covered that in another video in terms of what you want to have on hand in your kitchen. Have it and keep it simple. Buy some frozen veggies, heat them up in a pot or a stir fry real quick. Throw in your favorite protein, and you're good to go. It doesn't have to be this 4-hour marathon in the kitchen of this elite meal. Keep it very, very simple. Just basic food prep skills can really, really, really help. Being overconfident. A lot of times when we embark on our weight loss goals, we become, Joe weight loss. Hey, I can do this myself, no big deal, and the weight might start creeping back up. Develop a support system. Hey, whether it's ShapeFit.com, whether it's your own dietitian, trainer, strength coach, friend, workout partner, whatever it is, have some sort of a support system that you can check in with that will hold you accountable. And it's really when life gets in the way, when we're embarking on all these new things, that's when the problems come up. At first you have your blinders on, as Dr. John Berardio says. You have your blinders, you trudged away, life is good. But then, family says, hey, what about us? Job says, hey, what about us? So life gets in the way, and that's when you need your support system to kind of help brainstorm and troubleshoot some things to get around those obstacles. So overconfidence. Screen time. We talk about this with kids a lot. Oh, kids need to cut down TV. A lot of people need to cut down on TV. If you're watching more than 2 hours of TV per day, and you're complaining about not getting your meals in, and you're not getting your activity in, and you're not getting your sleep, something's wrong, I have people sit in my office every day. I'm getting 4 or 5 hours of sleep per night. None of my meals are ready for work. I can't fit in the exercise. What's your obstacle? No time. What's taking place in this in your 24-hour day? It's 1,440 minutes in a day. What's taking place? All of a sudden the person says, hey, I saw on Dateline last night this new thing. I was watching How to Become a Dancer last night, and I saw this new thing. That's fine if that's what you want, but just make sure your expectations match up with what you're doing in life. If you're watching a lot of TV, might not achieve the best weight loss results. So kind of keep that in mind. Social support. The people you hang out with rub off on you, and you have to ask yourself if that's a good or a bad thing. So make sure and surround yourself with people that are like-minded. It's much easier to eat healthy, to stay active, to get adequate amount of sleep when the people around you are doing that same thing. If the people around you are doing the exact opposite and discouraging you on your path to health and weight management success, it's going to be very, very difficult. It's going to be an uphill battle. So ask yourself, what are people around me doing to help me, and what are they doing to hurt me, and talk to them about that. That's really the only way it comes out, is when you kind of confront them and deal with it. Using food to manage feelings, I talked about in part 1 how if we're unhappy with many areas of life, we can use food as a way to mask that unhappiness. So if you use food to manage feelings, it might not be a good situation most of the time. Multitasking while eating. The satiety cues really don't come into place when you're doing other things while you're doing your eating. So whether it's TV, reading, computer, driving, anything like that, that's more of a multitask situation. You want to try to avoid that. And then finally, rigorously counting calories. I talked about how regular dieting can make you preoccupied with food, and how it tends to just result in detail-oriented thinking and not taking a step back and looking at the big approach with good nutrition. Same thing can happen when you're counting calories. Dr. John Berardi gave one of the best analogies I've ever heard. When people are making bad food choices and bad food timing choices, but they're counting calories, that's like straining the deck chairs on the Titanic. The ship's going down, everything's bad, but hey, I'm worried about I met my calorie quota. And the other thing with calorie counting is it can result in dietary displacement. So hey, yeah, I met my 1,500 goal for calories for the day. Hey, well, what'd you eat? I had 2 frappuccinos, and a brownie. Okay, well, that's bad nutrition, okay? So don't worry too much about counting calories. Keep it simple. Keep your food choices whole on a regular basis. Plan ahead of time, stuff I've talked about before. So that's part 2 in my opposite test on how to become overweight and obese. Hopefully you have some things to think about and kind of reflect on in your own life, and maybe you have some things you can maybe modify and improve on. Again, Ryan Andrews for ShapeFit.com. Thanks a lot.